Yeah, live. Hi, guys.
With Light and Easy, you can lose weight, enjoy more free time and a healthier lifestyle simply by enjoying your choice of ready-to-eat delicious healthy meals that start from around $8.50 each. Light and Easy, it's good food made for your goals.
Bloody head.
What if
Where's the skip at?
you could exchange currencies?
Got tickets, got passports, great. Are we taking WestConnex?
No, check-in isn't for ages. Right at a song, Di. Good to see you, by the way. I think Mike's on straight after this.
Worshipping the idols that knew everything but the truth. Teach us how.
What's the score of the hockey game?
Show us how we still have time. We need you, Yeshua.
Thank you, Dustin.
We're holy, hallelujah.
Location that nobody knows but him. It's Mike from around the world. Mike, how you doing? Oh no, wait a minute. Yeah, I hear you, but no one else does. Let's try that again. Say it again.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
That's you. How you doing tonight, Mike?
Good. Very good, Pastor Paul. Very good.
Mike, it's great to have you on tonight. There's so much to ask you about and talk about. Wow. Okay, but first of all, airplanes. Here we go again. And we got the one that crashed in Alaska, killing 10. We have 2 little planes.
I purposely got the song in, Di.
Mid-air collisions outside of Tucson. We have the plane that lands in Toronto and unbelievably rolls over, breaks its wings, and catches fire, and everybody lives. I mean, that was a miracle, hand of God.
Yeah.
But Mike, is there different reasons that this is happening? Is the atmospheric compression part of this? Is somebody cyber hacking and hijacking them? I mean, what's your answers here?
Great question.
Looking at those aircraft issues, they seem to have some sort of equipment issue. For example, the last aircraft, the aircraft that turned upside down.
Yeah.
If you look at it landing, its glide path was very steep, right? As though it had a false altitude reading. That can happen with a TCAS system. TCAS system and several systems on that aircraft, which, by the way, are externally hackable. I believe that that we have issues with their collision avoidance systems.
Yeah.
TCAS, right?
Yeah.
That's one of them. And the GPS systems are being spoofed, it seems. That's my opinion.
So they're hackable. So you're saying they are hackable?
Yeah, those are actually somebody could actually
another food recall. Wow.
TCAS system. They could spoof the GPS system.
We just had more chickens wiped out with the bird flu. We're going to get an egg shortage as well.
Causing the aircraft to think that no traffic is around or fake traffic is around.
Yeah.
And it would cause that aircraft would actually take some sort of avoidance measure, right?
Yeah.
In this case, these aircraft can't see each other, right? So that's a pretty consistent issue. Or their altitude setting is off.
Okay.
Right? Both would have, it's a pretty high probability that the traffic alert and collision avoidance system has been spoofed to some degree in both cases. So, that's got my attention. We do live in a world where the average person can get a hold of radio equipment to spoof or to set up fake GPS data systems and fake TCAS systems. So, that's more than probable. And it's not going to stop. It's going to continue to happen. It will continue to happen. We also have pressure changes. Your altitude is going to be based on atmospheric pressure and some other properties. But if the atmosphere itself, if the constants, mathematical constants of the atmosphere change, right? The aircraft, all aircrafts are not going to be able to calibrate quick enough without ATC assistance. And so barometric pressure is fluctuating so badly. Now, I'm sure that a lot of people felt that with these two storms that came through, with the pain in the body, because the liquids in your bodies, the liquid in your body will actually have to regulate and kind of balance itself with pressure outside, causing pain. With aircraft, if it gets beyond a specific threshold, that aircraft is going to have to make some major adjustments, and you have systems.
And Diane, that's how come we know to prep and put away food, because the Bible told us to.
That do this. So, we have atmospheric issues, but I think that someone is spoofing the aircraft.
Diane, he done that pyramid gesture that Trump does in his interviews. He must have done that.
I think someone is spoofing the aircraft.
Yes, Mike. You said this was going to happen for different reasons, probably for the atmospheric compression, but I'm with you about the spoofing because it happened the day after. You had a new transportation secretary when Sean Duffy, the day he took over, the plane crashed in Washington, D.C., which was the doomsday plane, or what they call continuance of government. That's the last helicopter on Earth that should crash. That's the most secured, protected one. That's the one that comes in to save the government if there's a catastrophic event. So, and then one after another, all over the country. And it's just crazy. This can't be a coincidence. I don't believe it.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. Yeah, a long time ago, Pastor Paul, when everything was going digital, right?
Yeah.
And I do tinker with a lot of digital equipment, radio equipment, electronics, things of that nature. And a long time ago, I could see everything going towards this Internet of Things pattern or platform framework. Of course, when that framework is installed, it would give the average person the ability to look into all systems. And I mean anybody, a child, if they had the knowledge, they could do it too. Right now, the system is set up, the framework of communications is set up that anybody could grab a signal out of the sky, replicate it, and send it back. Right? It's all digital.
Wow.
So if a person, knowing these kids are going to be computer savvy, they can get a hold. They are tuned to these digital networks and frameworks, and so they grow up and they become hackers. So we're in a time where the average person can be a deadly hacker, right?
Unbelievable.
And this is the time we're living in now. Not only aircraft, but you're also looking at ships, seacraft. We've had ships that just collisions with those also. You're looking at vehicles, same thing. Tesla vehicles, same thing, right? Now they don't report all those crashes when you have these vehicles that crash into homes and houses. And every single time one of these autonomous vehicles, they crash into somebody's house, do you not know that a cleanup crew comes within about 2 minutes? There it is in about 2 minutes. They are not nice to the people that live there at that house. They're not. They will shoot you if you get in the way.
What?
And they clean up. They take the car off and they're gone. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
So there's weird things happening for the sake of this framework being set up. And I believe part of it is so many people have access to the system right now. You don't know who's who. So the average person with an iPhone can actually do some real damage if they knew how, right? But now, with all these people who have gotten out of the armed services or maybe they're sitting at home or something like that, they could possibly be radicalized by.
Yeah, that's all we need, Diane. Another virus from China.
All different types of things out there, whether it be, politics, whether it be a religion or something like that. You just don't know who is who, right? Yeah. These attacks can come from many different places. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, Pastor Paul, until people start demanding biometric authentication, period. I say that once a year. There is, again, people are going to request that they lock down the internet. They're going to say no more, username and passwords. We need biometric data, that type of access.
Now you're saying they're going to demand.
So it's non-hackable.
Yeah, yes. They're going to cry for a system that they wish they never had. But that's what's going to happen. It's because so much theft, so much hacking, and so much stolen identities that people are going to demand a more secure system. And then
car crashes, electrical grids, back EMF. There's something else about to happen to some of the electrical grids. So nobody should be surprised if a power station blows up or just automatically turns into a big ball of sparks. Back EMF can be generated and sent right back to the power station with all these relays that we have now. Essentially, these relays on these homes can act as a large switching MOSFET, which can direct all that energy back to the power station, causing a hideous type of plume to show up with electrical sparks, like a big ball of lightning. Right? Wow. It looks like a science experiment. But if somebody hacked our system, that can also happen. People are going to start seeing weird things like that. They're going to demand that our system be, locked down.
Mike, also in the Middle East, to change gears a moment, there was 3 buses exploded tonight at about 8:30 this evening, Israel. And then they found more buses, and I don't know how many more, because I heard at least 2 more that you may know better, and those buses had bombs in them that were set for 8:30 tomorrow morning. So they're believing that the 3, they set it for the wrong time. They set PM instead of AM. And if that would have happened, if all 5 buses would have exploded tomorrow morning, hundreds of people would have probably been killed in a terrorist attack in Tel Aviv. Do you have any intel or any information you can share with us on what's going on with this in the midst of this war that's going on?
Well, perhaps the same thing that's happening here in the USA. Remember I told you about the people crawling under the ground?
Yes. Do you remember?
You have entire groups of people who are alienated. They are angry, and they will retaliate. You better believe that those buses. It's just one out of a bunch of things that will start happening like that. If they actually got to the buses, and I know that other items are rigged.
Yes.
Buildings are rigged.
Yes.
POVs are rigged.
Trains.
So if they're already rigged, they're waiting. And this is payback. If you take notice about something in the Middle East, if you attempt a tactic on people in the Middle East, they live for revenge. Keep in mind, they follow a different faith ideology than we do, right?
Yep.
In the Middle East, for example, Isfahan or Iran, and some of the ideologies that they have in the Islamic world in the Middle East, they will always blame everything on the Jews.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
This is from their upbringing, from a child to adulthood. This is what they're taught. And so if a bird flu breaks out, they will always tie it 6 steps to the Jews. Always. That's why you always hear somebody pop out and say something against the Jews. Also, anybody out there who likes to talk against the Jews, you're following the Islamic protocol when you do that. That's a spirit.
It's a spirit.
That's a spirit that is spiritually driving people, but they are bent on revenge. It's in their religion. So think about it. They blew up the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
So then the vengeful act.
Hey, Shawnee, good to see you.
But they're not done yet, because in proportion to what they, to all the people they killed, they're gonna kill on the order of probably 3 or 4 times more. This is what they're not going to stop until they do it.
That's their plan.
They will not stop until they do it, and it will come in multiple ways, and it will come fast. And well, just like this prisoner exchange.
Oh,
remember we talked a long time ago, and we said, well, if they're alive, if the prisoners are alive, because these guys are, they're probably dead. A lot of those folks are gone.
Yeah,
they have passed, and there is no returning them. But they're calling the bluff.
Shawnee, I've never heard of that bus thing before. It's not in our newspapers or on the news here.
Of all those in the Middle East, Passport, you better believe they have something set up.
Yeah.
To back up everything they're doing. So they're just not having these acts as these senseless acts. No, there's some method behind what they're doing. These guys are ruthless, right?
Yep.
They have been, they're very lethal, and they will most certainly devote all their skill sets to the takedown of Israel, right?
Yep.
And us. Keep this in mind. If they did that in Tel Aviv, something will happen here in the USA.
Yeah, because it's big Satan and little Satan.
They will never separate the two. In their religion, Passport, the USA has to be on fire when Israel is being destroyed, and their Dajjal will come, and then after all that, the Mahdi will come. That's their religion. Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Diane, we've still got really bad floods up in Queensland. Really bad floods.
Okay, speaking of that, and that religion is not just, guys, this isn't just a battle between Hamas and Israel. This is a Islamic terrorist apocalyptic ideology of eschatology of the last days. And for instance, what happened in the Congo, and I reported on this Sunday night, how that 70 Christians were beheaded and left sitting in the pews of a church. It was an evangelical Baptist church in the Congo. They beheaded 70 people, 70 Christians, and left them sitting in pews with, and Jesus sent 70 out by 2 to go spread the gospel. So they know what they're doing when they pick the number 70. But how wicked is this? How evil is this, Mike?
I'll check it out, Di. I was busy with my cousin and that yesterday, so I'll check it out later.
That's right.
Thank you for the post, though.
Now, I think these are a foreshadowing, right, of a kingdom that is slowly rising up on the earth. It's spread to just about all corners. And once the USA and for example, Italy, right? Italy is about to have a problem.
Okay, talk about that. What do you mean by that?
Well, Italy has geological problems right now, right? And it's more than those volcanic systems in the Aegean Sea and surrounding areas. Italy is sitting on top of Naples in particular, on top of a monster that has the ground is actually deformed. They have large creases that have taken place. Methane is shooting up out of the ground, so you have a lot of sulfur and methane, and they're analyzing these gases, and the gases are coming from these are magma emissions. These are not just normal gases. These are magma emissions. They're doing a depth check now. That they're looking at the geology to see how threatening this is. And so far, it is very threatening. very threatening. That's why I expect an explosion, an eruption there. Now, this is a super volcano. This is not just some, tiny volcano. So if it goes, you're looking at a huge area being affected by this, right?
Will it also affect Greece? That the Santorini? I mean, do you think it could set off a chain reaction over there?
Well, if that one if Campy goes, right, it will have enough force to affect just about any cold area out there. It's pretty deep, and it will affect Santorini. It will affect Greece and Corsair and Palma and all these different places. So it will affect a large area. You're looking at an eruption that will affect the Adriatic Sea all the way to the Baltic Sea, the eastern side of the Baltic Sea. So that would just be, that'd be heartbreaking. And
millions of people would die. Millions.
Yeah, a whole lot more than the 6 million that are in Italy. It would absolutely swallow.
That looks very creepy, doesn't it, Diane?
Of that place, and you're looking at long-term damage. When those volcanoes go off, it will affect the entire northern hemisphere. That's a super volcano that makes Yellowstone look like a tic tac. That's what it makes Yellowstone look like. So it is very dangerous. It is alive. It's getting worse. It's fed by a super caldera below a caldera. This is something that they're running into now. They're finding these, like Yellowstone, the Yellowstone caldera, right?
Yeah.
Well, they found another caldera below the Yellowstone caldera. They found a caldera below, the Campy system and Santorini system. So there are these very deep, large calderas, magma chambers below the magma chambers, right?
Wow.
And that's just not it's not a good thing, because if you look at the Earth and all the activity taking place on the Earth, the weather patterns are a telltale symptom that something is acting upon our planet. And then when you start looking at the sun, other than its solar maximum, something is acting upon the sun. And then when you start thinking about the sheer number of inbound debris or rocks, or all these meteorites that we have coming in, something is affecting all the planets, right?
Yes.
And it continues to increase by way of its force. And when you start listening to the experts who constantly watch space, they have found two magnetars out there. Those are Earth killers, they call them. Two magnetars that are too close for comfort, right? They will have those crustal quakes, they call them. And if it has a crustal quake, it'll blow off half our atmosphere in less than seconds. So they found two of them. They're some.
I got real life insurance to protect us financially. You can choose up to $2 million cover. Click to request a quote now.
You do know you're not alone in this story.
Please sigh on. Wash your hands, Jeffrey.
Since 1915, Soho has been Australia's trusted.
Some of the scientists are quite scared by them, but there's absolutely nothing anybody can do.
So these are, you call them, they're magnetars.
Magnetars. A magnetar is the scariest thing we could ever encounter. You'd rather have 6 binary stars coming close than have a magnetar.
Okay.
A magnetar is smaller than our moon.
Okay.
But it is so incredibly dense that if a 1-inch piece of that magnetar, a 1-inch cube piece, right, a piece about the size of a sugar cube, if that sugar cube shifted 3 millimeters, it would release enough power to destroy the entire Earth. How about that? That's how dense this is. So that's how dense it is. It's a collapsed star, magnetars. So that one little tiny piece of a sugar cube, that sugar cube, by the way, would weigh more than the Earth.
No.
Yes.
What's it made
That's
of?
how much.
What's it?
That's how much force. That's how much force, right? Is collapsed in on this star, the magnetar. That's why they're so dangerous. So if it starts to shift in all of them do, it will. It's going to cause us some issues and problems. And they found two of them too close for comfort. They found quite a few things too close to us, but the map.
Diane, we had the same this morning's news said that they destroyed so many chickens for the bird flu, and there's going to be an egg shortage. So we got a heads up about that as well.
Magnetars pose a big risk. There's nothing anybody can do. We're literally, existing every single day by God's grace alone.
By borrowed time. Okay, since you're talking about this, this asteroid 2024 YR4, when they first found it, which was December, they said it had a 1.2% chance it could hit the Earth. Now they've upped it to 2.2, 2.6. Now it's 3.6% chance. I guess it's because it's 7 years out, but really, I went and looked at the NASA thing they have, and you can actually watch it go around and watch the Earth, and you see where they meet. And in 2028, they come very close. But they say it's 2032 when it's all bets are off. 3.6. Mike, how come? Well, I guess because the more information we get, the better calculation we get. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah. Also, I'm going to bring everybody into the realm of reality here.
Okay.
Anything you find on the internet, right?
Yeah.
It's always going to be censored. It's always going to be utilized to calm the masses.
Yeah.
You can double check that by seeing the how reliable the JPL mapping system is and the NASA mapping system is with common meteor.
Diane, look how much money they found in USAID, and that was just one branch. Wait till they go after the education department. They're going to have the same sort of wastage in it.
Showers. Now, if they have flaws with a common meteor shower, then they're not even close to the real deal of things that are out there. And but most of the real experts will tell you, if you put your finger, hold your finger, arms length out, into the sky, then what your fingertip covers is how much of the sky we can actually watch.
That's nice.
We don't know everything else around your finger. We don't know what's out there. That's a good comparison of what we have mapped and what's unmapped.
So we got incoming coming from everywhere.
Like Apophis.
Okay.
Think of Apophis, right?
All right.
There's a reason I don't worry about Apophis, because Apophis represents one item of a millionth of a percent of those real terrors out there, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have other problems before Apophis even, comes close. If there's no guarantee the asteroid belt is going to be intact when it comes. If our asteroid belt is out of alignment, we're in trouble. The Earth's orbit there's something happening with the orbit of the Earth even right now. So there's all calculations are going to be off in another year, right?
Is that because of Planet X? Is the binary system is pulling on everything? Is that what's throwing everything off?
In the Bible, when it says that the Earth is going to reel and rock like a drunkard.
Yeah.
Well, it'll look like to us down here that the stars are out of position. And I told everybody in one night they're going to see the moon rise in one night. When that happens, we're not going to have our same orbit. We just won't. Now, we're going to live fine down here, right? Because we're still in a Goldilocks zone, but we're not going to have the same orbit. Now, how do we know this? Because there's a planet already. It's out of position. We're not talking about retrograde. Nope, it's out of position.
I mean, is it Mars? Is it Venus?
Things are happening in our solar system that are, it shouldn't happen, but it did. And we're going to come next. It's only a matter of time before we are affected by it too. Plus, they've already found that one of the civilization killers is one of the planets in our solar system. Think of it this way. Think of Mercury, right? Just think of Mercury. Every, I don't know, 13,000 years, let's say Mercury is pulled into one direction, which brings its orbit near ours, a little too close to ours, right?
Okay.
That will be an external force every so often, not the long duration. This is a short duration. That's essentially a scenario that that's being looked at right now. That one of the inner planets is going to be thrown out of its orbit, and it could very well get in our way, right? So we've had stability for a long time, but how many people are counting on one of our own planets hogging its orbit or coming out of its own orbit to come close to Earth?
No, none of us.
Nobody is thinking about that.
No,
right?
no.
Yet, when they do observations of these inner planets, why is it that they have telltale marks of being in our proximity of the solar system? Right, some of the telltale marks. Some of the rocks and some of the debris they found on Mars matches some of the inner planets. Things like that have happened. So we know at one point there was a chaotic moment in our solar system, and the planets essentially rearranged themselves. Why do the ancients have the planets in a different order?
Yeah, I know. I know.
So something, and we're not talking about this story of Tiamat. There's a Trump, as he digs up this, some of these conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to cause many to exclude the myth. Some of these myths that have been circulating. That's a good thing, because that means people won't be locked into false narratives, and they can get back down to the truth. And when they get closer to this truth, then they'll be able to see that what could kill us is right in our backyard.
So, I mean, he's already confirmed chemtrails. Okay, he's already turned loose JFK files, which now we're finding out there was at least 2 shooters, maybe more, for Bobby Kennedy and John F. Kennedy. But are you saying that the Planet X? I mean, are you saying that there'll be some? Is there going to be a confirmation of some kind of binary system?
Well, we have historical holes, right?
Okay.
We have too many civilizations that just they were taken down overnight, essentially.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Many times on this Earth, we have debris from Mars here on this Earth, and some of the debris from Mercury is here on this Earth.
That's crazy.
Why? Right? People used to see Jupiter close up. Jupiter was the biggest object in the sky, bigger than the sun, bigger than the moon. Why? That means Earth did not always hold this orbit, yet people lived on this Earth. I don't think anybody's used to some of the planetary arrangements that you see historically etched in stone. There are forbidden places where they will not share the imagery that's etched into rock, showing what people of the past saw. They did not see the night sky like us, right? They just did not. Orion, for example, was in a total different position back in the day than it is right now.
That's why it gets talked about in the Bible a lot.
That's right. The Pleiades likewise, and things were coming from whenever Orion was in a specific position, lights would come from Orion to Earth. And that was a portents, his position was a portents of a type doom that would come upon the Earth, and sure enough, things would take place. So, but all that's forgotten knowledge. Why? Because people, they have theorized so much. They theorized all the way away from the truth. That's why some of the information that people they believe is true doesn't even match the Bible. And I don't know about anybody else, but the Revelation and the Bible itself, they're very true to me.
Yes.
But there's a lot of theories out there that are not even close to what the Lord said.
Mm-hmm.
But people believe in them, and until they're proven wrong, they won't let them go. Right?
Well, they believe it because they don't know the Bible, so they believe false.
Right.
I think even
and that's what they push.
Apostle Paul said, "Don't believe science falsely." In other words,
don't
check with the Scripture first, right?
Right. That's what they believe. So as we get close, as we continue to go, a lot of things are going to be disproven. As supernatural things are seen, then other folks will just shut their mouths and stop saying what does not exist. They're going to have to live in a world that they did not expect to live in. And
wow,
that goes with, you know, what's going to happen to the earth. I believe it's going to become clear to all of us that we never had all the answers, right?
Yeah.
Especially when the void comes close. And I keep calling it a void because that's the best name I can give it. Think of something in the sky, Pastor Paul, that is so dark. It absorbs light around it. We're not talking about a black hole,
no,
but we're talking about something that it looks like a ball of blackness, right? With purple tentacles coming out of it. Just think of that. That makes no sense, but that's the closest description I can give. And we're going to have to deal with that.
We'll come back to that again. Okay, I got to think that one over a minute. Hey, let me ask you a question. The Pope obviously is very ill. Cardinals are seen coming into Rome in the airport. They've been seen going into the Vatican. The Swiss Guard has admitted they are practicing for the funeral. The Pope himself, I guess, has said, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Do you have any intel on what's happening here? Is he worse than what we know?
He's been sick for a while.
Yeah,
he's been sick for a while, and you know, the Pope himself said that his time was close. Right?
Yeah.
He's to my understanding, he's been transferring things. You know how they get things ready. He's been doing that for quite some time now. Well, that could explain why he had so many. He had just about every single culture come to visit the Vatican in the last year and a half. Just about every single culture, and sadly, just about every single earthbound deity they brought with him. Right. So yeah, his time is close. His time is close, and they know it. So they're getting ready for that transfer.
So is he trying to also maybe dictate the next pope, and that his progressive, because he obviously was a progressive pope, okay? He wasn't conservative at all. He's moved it way this way. Is he trying to keep that legacy going? Trying to keep it?
I think he is. I do believe he's delegating wishes, authoritative wishes to others. Letting them know what he would like to see happen and what he actually believes. You know how they record somewhat your legacy, and he's probably trying to narrate that in a more sound way right now that he's close to it. But yeah, he's very close to it, which is real odd because I know people know about the prophecies of the Pope, but there's one statement about this Pope. That right after his passing, he would the next pope that comes in would almost have to immediately encourage the people in a time of fire.
Really? Okay. So now we're going beyond Saint Malachi's prophecy. In other words,
that's not his prophecy. This is another one which has been some of those prophecies have. I mean, this one in particular has been uniquely eerie. But that the one after this one would have to deal with fire. He'd have to calm the people in a time of fire.
Well, aren't we talking about a time of fire? You've been talking about volcanism increasing, wildfires increasing. So there's something to this prophecy. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that, and I'm glad you brought that up. I wasn't thinking about that. I didn't know about that prophecy, and so I'm glad you brought it up. Mike, also, while we're at it, we've got a new FBI director. Can I ask, is Washington, okay, Doge, let's go to Doge for a minute. I mean, there's a lot. We got dead people getting Social Security checks. We got one guy, 369 years old, collecting a check. And here's the thing, of the 29 million dead people getting checks, they're all getting cash. So what's going to happen with this situation? I mean, this is
that's money saved. But yeah, no.
Is it going to be a rebate? You think Trump's going to do a big rebate for people?
He probably will. I know he will. He will. He will. The people will get. He will. But all these areas of waste. Here's the process. You can't find just the areas of waste, right, and stop that. What you have to do is you have to stop the entire system and do some checks and balances and then restart the system. Right. So that's what he's doing. I'm hoping that the people will give them just a little time. It's going to take time, because what normally happens, fastball, is when somebody has a good idea, and we live in this world of, let's not forget that Satan was named the god of this world, and he has the heaviest influence over this world. So he's not going to just sleep while good things are happening. No. So Elon Musk and his teams are finding all of this waste by way of computer systems, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. And when he finds it, the only recourse he has is to almost shut down the whole thing, to, eliminate those areas of waste and then start it back up again. This is what he wants to do in a more efficient manner, so that mistake does not happen. Well, that takes, that'll take maybe 15 to 20 days. That's all. Not even long. It takes about 15, 20 days. What could happen, though, is when he does this, people will start to become frightened. People will become a little angry, and then then the blowback happens. So in other words, we need to be cautious, that because when they go to change how things have been done, there could be a little bit of trepidation. We may have to endure just a little bit until they fix it. Is that what you're saying? Don't panic. Yeah, because you're talking about $80 billion a day going nowhere, right? there are 3 people who got kickbacks of $2 billion a month. Okay, these are senators who received kickbacks of $2 billion a month. There are some other senators, each one is receiving about $10 billion a month. So all this is being found out. And the reason they did not want to they didn't want certain things to be simplified, is because their kickback was from that system. Oh, of course. All right. All this is going to be found out. Yeah. And it's not really, because I'll tell you something, if everybody thinks it's going to be a bunch of Democrats, you're wrong. No, it's going to be a lot of rhinos. It's all across the board. Yeah. So you have people who did wrong things at the expense of other people, thinking that nobody could ever find out. And they hit it deep in the code of computers. Mm-hmm. Well, it just so happens that Elon, he can go in that code, and his teams can find it, and that's what he's been doing, essentially. That's why he wants access to the computers, because they're keeping a record of all the programs they're running to hide those funds. Yeah. Now, with the money savings, that means they could literally, I was going over some of the numbers, they could take the taxes and slash all taxes, right? But what they say, slash them by 80%. Yeah. And this country would still be, what they say, 6 times more prosperous than it ever has been. That's how much we're losing all this stuff. So could you imagine if they cut everybody's taxes by 80%, the economy would explode with growth. Yeah. But guess what? If saving this money, that's precisely what they can do. And they wouldn't even, they could probably cut much more, but they want to find all of that and get rid of it. And of course, when you start cleaning up any system, it's going to be uncomfortable. Yeah. It is scary. People are going to be, they're going to cause fear behind it and everything else. There'll be some false rumors. Yeah. But once it's complete, it's complete. This reminds me of the Roosevelt time. Something similar happened in the time of Roosevelt. It did. Okay. And this just reminds me of the Roosevelt time historically, because there was pushback to the change that was taking place then. Right? He had pushback. Lincoln had pushback in his time. Right, Lincoln abolished slavery. Yep. Nobody wanted that. Right, nobody did. All of these guys had assassination attempts. Roosevelt had assassination attempt, just like Donald Trump. That's funny. That's right. Have you ever heard that? Yeah. He had an assassination attempt, just like Donald Trump. Anytime. And so, okay. Now, while we're on it, Fort Knox is the gold in Fort Knox. I've always wondered about it. They haven't had an audit since 1974, and when they did, they tried. They tried. Is the gold there? Pastor, it was 10 years ago, right? Okay. Yeah. There were 4. I'm not going to name them. 4 senators were slotted to go to Fort Knox, and then when you know it, right when they were about to enter into Fort Knox, the whole thing was scrubbed. right?
Yeah.
Some genius came up and said they want to time it during the eclipse so they can see the gold and the eclipse at the same time. Then before that, there was an attempt. It was scrubbed. Then before that, there was an attempt. It was scrubbed. So it seems like someone with power beyond power scrubs any attempt to get into, to check out. They even had the military under military guard, strength of force and everything, and it was scrubbed. They couldn't get in there to see. So I personally believe something is in there.
Yeah.
But a while ago, some of that gold was moved.
Mm-hmm.
It was moved.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was moved. And they said they had to move it for security reasons and renovation reasons. But they never had a story of it being put back.
Yeah.
Then they dropped the guards. You remember they had all the security and guards around that place? And then when they cut the budget for security around Fort Knox, and when they altered the mission around Fort Knox and kind of took it out of people's minds, right? You know, something is different, because if all the gold was there, when they have guard upon guards over that place, it'd be a lot of money spent to secure that gold, because that would cause that'd be a lot of gold.
I know. I used to live in the Louisville, Kentucky area, and I've driven by Fort Knox, and when you did drive by Fort Knox, your radio didn't work. Okay, I'm talking about AM or FM. It just
that's right.
Your cell phone. Yeah, forget your cell phone. I mean,
it was a blackout.
Yeah, you couldn't even turn a radio on. You know.
That's right.
But that was back 30 years ago.
Then it all went away.
Yeah.
Now here's something else I thought about. Suppose they go in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Suppose they go in there, they get in the building, and all of it's not there. Do you know what happens? They can never say that.
They can't say everybody
know that. If they come out and say all of the gold is not in Fort Knox, do you guys understand what's going to happen to the dollar? Yeah. The same moment, people are going to say, "Oh no, oh no, oh no." Yeah. That's what they're going to say.
They're not going to tell us.
And that just wouldn't be. That would be, you know. So to say that they're looking for the gold in Fort Knox, it's just weird, because if it's not there, you can't tell a soul.
No.
Unless you wreck this entire country, right?
I don't think. You can't.
That's just what do you do in that scenario?
I think maybe the dope goes in. If Elon, maybe they know the gold's gone. Okay, and then Elon just has to do the thing. Say, guys, guess what? It's there. Okay, just to put that away, put that rumor away. I mean, that's a conspiracy. But if they know it's gone, Elon's got to come back and tell us it's there. But that's not how he operates.
People are going to want, if Elon says that money is there, right?
Then it's there.
Everybody's going to want to go and see it.
Yeah, as a matter of fact,
with the gold,
okay,
they're not going to take his word for it.
Well, because that's why Elon said, okay, let's go find out if it's there. But if I go, he said, I want to stream it live on Twitter. I want to show you on Twitter. Yeah, so he's saying, don't take my word. Let me show you. He's sort of like Missouri, you know.
Yeah, because he knows people, when it comes to that, the whole world is going to be, the whole world except Europe is going to be watching.
Except Europe.
Europe won't have to watch.
They got
They already know.
They know the truth. Yeah. Okay, now let's. So we'll keep our eye on this Fort Knox thing. Let me ask you about this. Kash Patel finally got confirmed, so I think we got all the president's men and women in place.
Yes.
Kash Patel, FBI director, he says he's not going to go on a witch hunt. We just got to clean the thing up and move forward. and there's some other things I could say that I don't think are true. So what do you think about that one?
Well, I think that I can't. First of all, sometimes you just can't believe what's happening before your face. I do not subscribe to a matrix. I don't subscribe to waking up in some alternate universe. I certainly don't subscribe to the Mandela effect. But have we broken the matrix?
Are we in an alternative universe?
Sometimes I'm like, did these guys get it right? Something is not right. This happened right.
Maybe CERN pierced the veil, and Mike, you and me and everybody, we just went into another dimension. What's going
Pastor
on
said,
in Washington?
you know what? It is. It's so funny. But I think what's happened is the people of the USA, right? During the presidency of Trump, the people stood up.
Diane, who's Trump going to sell it to? Who's he going to sell the public lands to?
They started to stand up and they realized their own power is what they did. Because prior to that point, everybody else thinking, what can I do? I can't do anything. Well, if everybody in the USA thinks that they can't do anything, nothing will be done, right? Because they're thinking as an individual. Well, when Trump came into power, people stood up for Trump and they realized, hey, guys, we do have power.
Yeah,
right?
That's
just
true.
Not us. It's other people. And during this specific election, the country tricked the Democratic counting machine. They didn't count on that many people voting for Trump. They thought it was going to be a blowout. It was a real.
Do you think
it was a real shot.
Do you think the bullet had a lot to do with it? Do you think the bullet?
Absolutely. When that bullet grazed his ear, right?
Yep.
And he stood up and he said, "Fight, fight, fight." Here's what was polarized within people: that when he did that, he told everybody, "Fight for your country."
Yeah, that's what.
That's when they began to believe in him. That's when they didn't care what he was talking about. They said, "There's a guy who loves his country," and that polarized some of the more questionable folks, right?
Yeah,
that did it. And then the vote came in. Now, keep in mind that moment polarized them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those same people that were polarized because they saw dedication in him and a resolve they had not seen before in anybody else. Those same people that jumped on board, they had to be careful to make sure that they stay on board, which means, there's an internal voice in America. Sometimes people will give you a false praise just to wreck your career. Pastor, you know that.
Oh yeah.
You know people have come up and have attempted to deify you in some way just to
tear me down later.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Course.
They want because they'll say, "Oh, look, this guy, he's accepting praise." You know how they.
Yeah. Even if you're not.
That's right.
But
so you have people that will do.
Yeah.
They'll do Trump the same way, and so Trump, he needs prayer. He needs a covering. Listen, for what we're dealing with right now, the world cannot help President Trump. Only Christians can, because his real consolidated enemy against any good in this nation is Satan himself. And Satan he doesn't care about bullets, but he does care about prayers.
Yes.
And so Trump will have to be covered with prayers from believing Christians. That's the only recourse of action to his steps going forward.
Yeah, men, I think sometimes this is a truth, folks. A lot of times, men don't fall. We just let go. The church. Men
we do. That's right.
Men don't fall. We let go. As long as we lift their hands for Moses, as long as we keep praying, then people can overcome temptations and different snares and attacks. If we quit praying, they don't have a chance. Would you kind of agree with that, Mike? I mean, it's kind of
because we're the ecclesia, we're the church, the body of Christ in the earth. We are the tangible part of the body of Christ. We're the action part, the part that interacts with humanity. And if we don't do anything, there is no body of Christ interceding for anybody, right?
Yeah.
So we really have to do this. I can tell you this, Pastor, this alien from planet Lasagna disclosure that will soon take the spotlight again.
Well, now, Mike, that's the next webinar in March. Okay, here we go. Disclosure.
It's going to take the spotlight again, but
just changed the starter.
I want everybody to take note of something.
Okay.
What has happened so far has been timed so perfect that nobody understands they're doing exactly what is planned for them to do. Now, I know that's upsetting, but I'm going to tell everybody right now, they're doing exactly
Bachelor of Arts.
what they want you to do.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Only when a person is operating by way of the Spirit are they not going, are they not fulfilling man's plan.
Right?
Yep.
Amen.
I'll put it that way.
Amen.
If they're not being led by the Spirit, Pastor Paul, I'm telling you, they're fulfilling man's plans. I try to give people examples. Now, people in COT, they know right before planes crash, right, the day before, I'll tell everybody, a plane is going to crash again. It's not over. Or 2 more aircraft are going to crash, and then they do. Now, I'll never tell them, why that comes about or anything else. But I'm telling you that people have, you wouldn't believe how intricate the spider web goes.
Are we getting ready to have a major
in this
disclosure, if you will? They'll call it that, but are we about ready to have a mega shock?
It'll be an interruption, right? Okay. Followed by demonstration. First of all, there's something that President Trump said that he did not want to say.
Okay.
He didn't want to say concerning this UFO thing. So we'll see a retraction of that. Second, we're also going to see, this is where prayer comes in. Everybody should understand that these guys are only men and women. That's all they are.
Yeah.
They're not going to have the spiritual insight that a believing Christian would. They're not. They cannot see what we see, right? They cannot see it. So they might call something okay that we see as not okay. And in such a case, they're going to need some advice, right? They're going to need some direction in that, because in the world right now, the Nephilim, this word, the Nephilim, has been confused with a nothingness. The word angel, for example, the angel is not what something is, it's what the sons of God do.
Yeah.
Right?
Messenger.
Angel means messenger. Yeah. The sons of God are messengers. So just like that word, somebody would say, oh, that's an angel, but in truth, that's not what it is. That's what it does. Well, then men are going to make heads or tails of what they figure out. If they see an entity, and that entity has contributed good to anything, right? And taken nothing away from anything. I'm telling you right now, people are going to excuse that entity and the influence of that entity. Now, we all know that Satan manifests as an angel of light.
Yes.
Right? They don't know that. They've not dealt with that. They've not dealt with the true evil that will come up and get beside you and give you a hug, shake your hand, get into your household, feed you, and take care of you. That's real evil, because it gets very close to take you down. They don't know that, right? They all they know is betrayal and things of that nature. So this next phase is going to be somewhat of a serious phase. But Christians, they have to get ready to, Pastor Paul, because I don't think Christians as a whole, they do believe, and I sympathize with this, because I had to go through some things before I actually, really believe. You could say that when it came to aliens and stuff like that, I gave it no thought. I wouldn't even talk about it. And if I ever met somebody who said, they believed aliens were real a time ago, I would have said, yep, that person they're just not grounded, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I got you.
Until certain things took place in my life, I was like that. But when they take place, I'm telling you right now, it can shake you. It can shake you a little bit. Now, it won't shake you away from Christ, but I mean, it's going to flip your world in 3 different ways. You can't look at the earth the same way anymore. You can't even look at people the same way anymore, because you'll understand there's another element that's constantly here. Also, there's something in the Bible where it says that Satan has accused. In Revelation, when it says he accused them before God day and night.
Yes.
Talking about Satan, those that dwell in the heavens also. And then it said, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. And the reason why I bring that up is because
it does say that.
We could potentially meet a breakaway group of people.
So
they're just like you and I. They developed a little differently. Yes, they developed a little differently, but they're just like you and I. They just stayed away from everything. It's a breakaway civilization. So if that time comes, they're not aliens. They're human beings that just broke away.
Okay, all right, so you're saying they're human beings, but they maybe have a little different genetic makeup.
Well, maybe they may be a little. They deal with the same things we deal with. They may look a little different because of the environment.
Okay, I understand.
You know what I mean? But make no mistake, they're human
like
beings.
albino, kind of maybe a bit.
Yeah, kind of real marshmallowy.
Because they've been in a dark. They've been in a dark area. Maybe they've been.
Well,
underground.
Artificial light, maybe something like that.
Okay.
They're going to have differences, but there could come a time very soon. I mean,
So in other words,
extremely soon
don't
that
freak
people
out
do
if
that.
this happens. Don't
Right.
don't think they're all
Right.
demons or they're all aliens. They could actually be sea people.
But and listen, you can always
the
identify
revelation.
them by the Messiah, by their own Messiah. I'll tell you right now, if somebody does not, if they do not recognize Jesus of Nazareth, they are of Satan, period.
Well, I agree
Because
with that.
even if we have a breakaway civilization, their Messiah is going to be Jesus of Nazareth. You're going to deal with the same Lucifer we deal with, period. Right? You're going to deal with the same thing. And so that's the identification point. If they acknowledge Christ and say he has risen, well, then there you go. But if they don't, no.
That's true with any
They
human
know.
being walking around on the earth with us right
That's
now.
right.
Our
That's right.
next door neighbor. If they, yeah, okay.
That's right. It's kind of like that tribe that's in South America right now, right? That they're different group of people that only what is it? Only not too many people know about.
Are you talking about the pygmies? I mean,
No. These people have they're about the average height of a basketball player. Right?
Oh, cool.
I don't think not one of them is
Go
under
for a
6 foot.
swim.
But they're isolated. They're separated from society. They know all about everybody's societies. They're highly educated, but they don't interact.
Where do they live?
They
Are
have
they
no
in the
corner.
Amazon somewhere?
That's in somewhere in South America, down near the tip of South America, and they just don't interact with anybody.
We're not talking about
So
tall whites.
when you-
Are you talking about the tall white? No.
These are human beings.
Okay.
These are human
Okay.
beings.
Okay.
But my point is that they broke away in the 1500s. Right?
Okay.
And they never came back to this society. But yes, they are down there, right?
Well, it
They have
makes
their own
sense.
developmental things going on.
You know, when I was thinking about this, my son went to Peru, and and so he comes back and he's telling me, he says, "Look, the Incas were a civilization of people, very brilliant. They understood sacred geometry. They knew how to put big, huge stones.
Right.
They took them from 25 miles away, and somehow they got them there and put them together, and then when the Spaniards came. And then they took over and all that, and they built their stuff. But when the earthquakes hit, the Spaniards' ruins and buildings and stone, they fell. But the Incas has never fallen.
There you go.
They were brilliant people, but got overtaken.
That's right. Plus, basketball, according to history, we are the offspring of those who took shelter in different places in the ground, right, during the last calamity, are we not? Right, we're talking about after Noah. After Noah, there were other calamities, and people took shelter. And here we come out from those ones too. So I'm just telling everybody that when calamities happen, some people duck for cover, and they'll come out later on in years, and then they'll repopulate or do whatever. And some people don't; they stay in those areas wherever they went. Just like the military force that we have in the oceans. Under the sea, we have a military force under the sea. The USA does. We have science bases under the sea.
Really?
Right? 8-month rotations. That's right. They don't come topside for about 8 months.
You're not talking about Garcia, Diego's Garcia Island or something. Underneath the ocean.
No. These are our undersea bases right under the USA right now. Right?
Okay.
We have undersea operations that take place. They go right from the East Coast to the West Coast, but they're in the water and underneath the United States of America. So what I'm saying is that we have lots of things in the ocean, and those in the ocean, they know about the other people in the ocean. Just so you know that.
Okay.
But you can't tell everybody topside because they'll say they're aliens or something like that. Where they come from, and they don't have Social Security cards like we do, or ID cards like.
There's a different civilization. I mean,
to have a breakaway group, it's no big deal. That's what I'm telling everybody. So don't freak out if they hear about a breakaway group. Now, don't get that confused with some of these other things that can also come out of the ocean, right? But we're talking about people, by and large people. That's all.
You're not talking about demonic entities or aliens.
Well, no.
You're talking about people, but a breakaway civilization.
Right.
Okay.
Now, does that mean there are no demons in the sea? No, it does not. There are things in the ocean that are, not right. But we have people right now, right, that are on rotation that have been under the ocean for, you know, maybe a year or two.
Do we got people on
maybe
Mars
8 months
too?
or so.
We got people on Mars.
As I said the last time, I'm just the sign guy.
Come on, friend to friend. What's the house worth?
Oh, I don't know. What's anything really worth?
Steep.
No property price estimates trusted by the banks. Download the domain app.
What if your card offered you benefits?
Nature. A powerful force for change. A constant bloom.
Have to leave that. What's the lady's name? That talks about Mars life.
Laura
Eisenhower.
Well,
I'm leaving all that.
Okay, well, Laura Eisenhower is going to. She's already accepted. She's going to be one of our guests again in March when we do our webinar. She's coming back, and I'm going to ask her again. She said that her grandfather did meet with these entities 3 different times, 3 different locations, and she said she was part of that secret. She never went. And she said she was scheduled to go. So you want me to leave that with her? Well, let's let her tell some.
Yeah, leave that with her. She'll tell you.
Okay.
Because here's why. I know they keep talking about going to Mars, right? And in the year 2000, I told some people something. I said, listen, because they said, have we gone to Mars or something like that? I said, listen, if they all of a sudden come up in maybe a handful of years, if they come up with an engine that can get us to Mars within about 3 days, I said, then yes, we have gone to Mars. So, but first, they need to introduce an engine that can make it to Mars within 3 days, right?
Yeah.
And then after they make that engine, then everything will be softly disclosed. It'll be like, we set that stuff up there and we didn't. So if everybody starts hearing of an engine that's capable of taking any vessel from the Earth to Mars,
then they're already there.
Then you have your answer, right? Then you have your answer. Because are there ships with 3 S's in them? Yes. Is there a classification of naval officer that starts with a very weird prefix? Yes. So it's not like captain. There's a prefix and then captain, a prefix and then major, a prefix and then colonel, prefix and then admiral.
The prefix is non-terrestrial.
So yes, they have strange prefixes. Are there applications that you run across sometimes that are quite odd in nature? You have to have rigorous athletic ability or physical strength to join up with. Yes, and they include. You cannot have previous space or previous experience in space. You can't have. That's disqualified. You can't even be a part of this group if you've already been to space. If you've been part of NASA or JPL or some experimental group, something like that, you cannot be a part of this group and they have applications for things like that. That will be that's an exposure thing. If you go to space with any other group, you're exposed to radiation in higher doses than everybody else, and so that would disqualify you from absorbing any more radiation or disqualify you. So yeah, there are telltale marks that those groups are real, that those vessels and ships are real. Can anybody prove it? No, I don't think so. So it's just not worth the conversation right now because there's no evidence that anybody can actually.
We have to wait. We have to wait till we get a little more disclosure.
But as far as the in the water people, they're going to have evidence. And so just to know that before that ever takes place can settle.
So when Apollyon comes out of the bottomless pit, is he coming? Now that's a spiritual realm. Is that a spiritual realm?
You know what, Pastor Paul, that is such a subject. I think that is a spiritual realm, yes, but I believe that's something physical.
Something physical too. Okay.
Yes.
It's physical, but spiritually empowered.
Yeah. It's funny because you can take if you go to some of these Native American tribes, some of the more like the ones in Peru, right, that don't receive too many visitors, and you show them pictures of what people have seen, they'll tell you these are the people that live underground. This is where the dead go, they'll say. They live where the dead go.
Wow.
Talking about the gray aliens, they'll say they live where the dead go. Yeah, and they'll say the dead can sometimes occupy those bodies and do things, but they go where the dead go. They know those things are underneath their feet right there in Peru. And what just happened in Peru? Well, I guess folks will find that they're finding all sorts of stuff down there, right? Through drones and all that technology, they're finding some pretty interesting things there. So I think that's an evolving story that will come out. I believe that the current administration if they're not going to have a disclosure like people would want, although it'll be devastating to some people. It will, because there's no way. I don't believe there's no way we're going to go through this year without some sort of interference. I just don't see it happening this year. People have become too immoral, right?
Yes.
That gives a lot of room for demonic entities to operate. It does. And they're fooling the masses. There's a type manifestation past ball of some kind of weird ship right now. What I don't believe
in the air or in the sea. I mean,
on the ground.
On the ground. A weird ship.
Yeah. I'm sure that story is going to come to the forefront. But people are having problems with entities now. This is openly. Yeah. They're having issues with entities.
Yeah.
I do not believe. Do you, Pastor? If everybody knew that some weird group was going to send a fake alien invasion, do you think they would send a fake alien invasion?
No.
It wouldn't work anymore.
No, it won't work.
If everybody knows about it, it's not going to work. That's right. There is something I believe it deals with that. But Von Braun is the source for the fake alien invasion. Von Braun is.
Yes, he is.
Von Braun's secretary is the one who spread that information around.
Yes, she did.
Von Braun got that from Hitler. That's what Hitler wanted to do, to gain the rest of the masses. And but think of it this way: what if, when the fake alien invasion comes, it's not fake?
Then we got a problem. Then we've got a demonic invasion, a demonic release, and you've got Apollyon. Yes. I mean, that's what the scripture says. This thing comes out of the bottomless pit.
And we're not talking about Blue Beam.
No, we're not
talking about that.
No.
That's a counter intel thing.
That's right. This is real, and it's bringing with the demons so thick as smoke, locusts and creatures, and so it's demonic and physical. It's spiritual and physical.
That's
right. I wanted to ask you that. I'm so glad you confirmed that, because I've known that, but I mean, it's like, how do I get that across to people?
You know what? Because people, they can laugh about the stuff now. There's a reason that legitimate folks have seen what they call cryptids. There is a reason people have seen these hallways in military places with these canisters on the left and the right full of bodies. Yeah. Like a brand new human body. There's a reason for this, right? Mm-hmm. People talk about clones and everything else. Mm-hmm. You can make a clone, but where are you going to get the spirit from? Right? Where are you going to, if anybody thinks a clone is going to naturally have a spirit in it, they're wrong.
No.
They're wrong. So they have to have a procedure, some type of ceremonial thing for that.
To bring in a spirit, to bring in a demonic entity to fill that. Yeah.
That's right. They have to have a ceremony for that. And it has to come from a specific bloodline that these entities are used to. That's why they cling to families, because they get used to, the body. Because if a demon inhabits the wrong person, they could kill that person in a heartbeat, right? So they have to have a compatible host. Somebody their parents are not washed by the blood of the Lamb. Somebody whose parents are not washed by the blood of the Lamb. Amen. So that's why they follow bloodlines. They follow a corruptness within people. So we have a lot of stuff coming forward we're going to have to deal with. But this fake alien invasion narrative is foolishness.
It ain't going to happen.
At its best. Because even those things that come out of the bottomless pit, now I'm talking to real believers.
Yeah.
Real believers don't have to worry about it, because these things are commanded not to touch. Pastor, this is going to trip you out. They're commanded not to touch any green thing, or any tree, no grass, no anything. And they cannot touch anybody with the seal of God.
That's right. That's what it says.
Which means they can't touch anybody who belongs to the living God. Amen. Anybody who believes in Christ, who has truly accepted him and sealed by the Holy Spirit. And they cannot be touched anyway.
They can only torment.
But here's something funny.
They can only torment the ones who are blasphemous toward God.
That's right. I mean,
You gonna know my name?
Come on, Ed.
I mean, real
torment.
It says, in those
5
days
months.
men will seek death but will not fight.
That's right.
Men will desire to die and death will flee from them. I'm going to point out something else too.
Okay.
Right? In Revelation it says, they're not to touch or harm any green thing, any tree, right? Any of those things. Isn't it funny that in these end times you have an angel who's going to open up that bottomless pit, and Apollyon and his group pops out, and then, but you have a movement here on this earth where people don't want to hurt any green thing or any tree. Don't you find that to be the weirdest, strangest thing you ever heard? As though, they're born of the same.
Are they so they're operating in that same spiritual mindset?
Pastor, there you are. I mean, is that you can't make that one up?
No,
you can't even call that one.
It's the green religion. It's the Green New Deal. It's the green. Oh, it's true. It is true. I mean, you can't make that up? It is. Crazy.
Yes, you can't make that up.
Oh, no. All right, Mike. Well, hey, this has been great. This has been great. Okay, I'm pumped for Saturday, guys. I'm pumped. Mike is fine. I finally got a confirmation from somebody who I know knows. So, thank you, Mike, for that. And I can't wait till we talk again next week. What are we going to talk about next week, right?
Oh my goodness! I think at some point everything starts blowing up. Basically, the weather's going to be a big deal.
Okay.
Somehow, Pascal, we got to get people prepped for the weather. We do.
We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Mike, thank you for coming tonight. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Pascal, God bless you. Don't let the volcano scare you.
No, I won't let that. We don't have any here in Florida, but I'll be careful.
No.
Okay.
Not in Florida.
Thank you.
God bless you, Pascal.
God bless you. Thank you.
I'm gonna vacuum it. Yeah. It's not that bad though. Yeah.
Control. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. These influencers are out of control. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well.
Hey, Leif, welcome back.
Going to get into a ton of stuff. In this video, we're not going to just talk about influencers, but that's going to be a lot of what we're talking about because there's some strange things going on right now. All right. We're also going to get into some other stuff as well. With what recently came out, we might be getting $5,000 checks in the near future because of all this money that they have saved via these audits. Talking about, of course, them looking into the USAID and other organizations. But I wanted to get into some of these other topics as well. We have here a number of influencers of recent just doing things that make no sense. We have here, of course, Ashley St. Clair. I don't know if you heard about this. This is from like about a day or two ago. We have another one with Lily. She was famous for being with 100, of course, men. Now apparently she's pregnant. We're going to get into that in a second. We're going to get into also a bunch of other stories. And it has a lot to do with all these influencers that claim to be religious, conservative, all this kind of stuff. And there's this really weird pattern where people like Michael Knowles will try to encourage people like Lily, for example, to become a believer, a Christian, and then after that, we'll try to turn them into some sort of social media influencer on our side. And I don't know if I'd say this is a good idea because almost all the people at the top seem to have these backwards, of course, mindsets. They'll say one thing and do the exact opposite. And a perfect example is this Ashley St. Clair, who claims to be sort of a religious, traditional wife type of person when she's not married, but she's telling everybody, she's preaching to everybody to be this way. Then she just recently came out, apparently has now a child with Elon, and Elon has not even confirmed this yet. And
have a good night, Leif.
It's become this really big thing, a viral thing on X and on the internet, including YouTube, where she apparently has a new child. And 5 months ago, I welcomed a new child into the world. Elon is the father. I have not previously disclosed this to protect our child's privacy and safety, but in recent days, it has become clear that the tabloid media intends to do so, regardless of what it will cause. I intend to allow to grow in a normal and safe environment. For that reason, I've asked the media to honor our privacy, refrain from invasive reporting. While she's the one letting the cat out of the bag, then she's going on to do interviews with big publications, $40,000 a month apartments, wearing this right here. She said, again, she says she's a traditional religious commentator telling you that you should have a husband, a normal family. She's wearing this for her interview. She's not married to Elon. She has a child with him. This has like become the norm. This is like the norm now. This is the norm. And we're talking on the religious side, on the conservative side. And it's not normal, right? It's not, right? But what's going on is all these people at the top are like this. And those who are actually married and actually have a husband or a wife and children, the normal, probably what you have that's watching me, that's like a unicorn. It's like rare now at the top. Apparently I'm a unicorn, which is weird because I'm like you. I'm like normal. I have like a wife and kids, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like rare for those at the top, and I'm not at the top either. I mean, that might explain it. Maybe if I get to the top, I'll be like them. Or I don't know. I hope not. But my point is that like, why are these people like this that are at the top? She, of course, was a only fans lady before this. What a shocker, right? So that's who she was before this. And like, here's an example. This was actually a good post. Almost all the posts on Twitter or X from like the common famous top voices just rang hollow to me. This guy, it made sense what he said. I liked what he was saying here. Protecting your child is admirable, but I cannot understand why this is being celebrated by conservatives. As she's saying, Claire is just another example of promoting traditional family values. Is all a grift. This woman has been seen as a leader among conservative influencers. Really? We don't need to shame her through the streets, but it is not conservative or based. Call it what it is. Selfish decision by Elon and Ashley. And so he keeps going on about this. And he says, what happened? I just wanted a husband, 2 kids, and a small farm. Oh, that's right. It's all a grift. Like many females claiming to be Christian or conservative for clicks, follows, influence. And of course, actually, a lot of these women at the top on our side used to be only, of course, fans. And this is what I've been trying to point out. A lot of people are like trying to defend them, like, no, they're good, they've changed. Like, why is it the ones at the top are all starting there and coming here? Why aren't they starting in church, staying in church, and being normal, and then getting to the top? Why is it always they start here, and then they got this grift going on? You see what I'm getting at? That's what I've been trying to point out for a while, and some people try to defend all this. Ashley St. Clair, only people who can destroy this toxic wave of femi is women. Bring back family values. Make monogamy great again. It's okay to want to be a stay-at-home wife or mother. Stop thinking you need to do the same things as men to good. It's hilarious. It's hilarious, okay? Like, you're not that. You're not that, Ashley St. Clair. You aren't, okay? So everyone was complimenting her, though. Everyone was complimenting her. I have that around here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. It was actually underneath this thing here. Like, everybody in the world's complimenting or congratulating, not necessarily complimenting, but congratulating her. What in the world, dude? This is so ridiculous. I just want a husband, 2 kids, and a small farm. This was not an invitation for marriage request. Please stop. She doesn't want to be married. She just wants you to think she does. Okay? She just wants you to think.
Good to see you.
I'm trying to show the bottom. I'm not sure how a tweet talking about my desire for traditional family life and values makes me a. I wonder why. And then she, of course, says, bite me, right? Okay. Oh, that's really professional of you. So, of course, you see what I'm trying to get at? Now you have this. This just shows you how ridiculous our world is now. Lily, of course, Phillips, announces pregnancy after 100, of course, men challenge. I'm sure some of you guys heard about this, right? Who's the father? Is it one of the 101 men? You know what I mean? Now, it gets even more ridiculous. Okay? Known for a viral claim of being with, of course, 100 men, in one day, announced her pregnancy on social media. This followed shortly after Bonnie, another notable figure, hinted at pregnancy. So, like, they're actually in a competition for pregnancy now. This is all like Kim Kardashian on stick.
Special fried rice, guys? Yes! And sesame oil.
Fresh tomatoes.
I love all of it. My tip, do it your way.
I don't always make smart decisions when it comes to UV protection, but I did choose British Paint's Four Seasons. It protects against the sun's rays.
Not like those budgie smugglers, eh, Daz?
You love it, Norm?
You're better off with British Paints.
Sometimes it's the little things that remind us of family, like the secret ingredient in Nanny's Nilaga, or the way Pop
On steroids. It's just like ridiculous. And it's also on our side. It's also on the conservative or religious side. They're also doing this stuff now. They're just doing crazy stuff to get famous. And then after that, they become religious traditional. Well, they're not. And then they get a bunch of clicks and views from it. Like Ashley St. Clair, or another example might be Nala over here. And also, there's a lot of other ones, by the way. It's not just those two. There's also Lauren, of course, Southern. We'll get into that. We're going to get into that. We're also going to get into what's going on with this $5,000 proposed. I'll get into that right after this. First of all, and I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into what's going on in Ukraine, which is kind of crazy, and much more. First of all, I'm going to mention food supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 3 months worth for $5.97. You definitely want to get that if you have not already. Link is in the description. 2,000 calories. Decent amount of variety, 3 months worth of food, $5.97, very cheap. You're not going to get that price in the store for 3 months worth of food. Link is in the description, and you never know what's next anyway. So also this book, The Lost Ways, how your great-great-grandfather lived without electricity, how to build a cellar, do things around the house like they did in the good old days, hundreds of pages illustrated. The fact is, you're going to want that book before something happens, because once the electricity's off for 2 weeks, you ain't going to be able to buy that at Walmart, all right? This book is not there. And it's got really great reviews. $37. Get the printed version. Link is in the description. It has some shipping too. But at any rate, so go check that all out. Also, you have what's going on. The story with Fort Knox. Rand Paul tried to go there to see if we actually had the gold they claim we had. Right? Apparently, he was not allowed to go. So soon here, Elon's going to be investigating and auditing the Fort Knox gold, which, interestingly, there has been these very, very large purchases of gold from Britain to America by an anonymous source very recently, and some are wondering if it's related to this Fort Knox story. Maybe they're trying to make it look like there's more gold there again. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, you might want to get yourself some gold and silver as well. Got some deals at AppMax right now. Link is in the description for that. When they reprice the gold at Fort Knox, which, by the way, they have not done, it's still $42 an ounce or some ridiculously low price. It may definitely affect the price of gold. It might go up a ton. Link is in the description. You might want to get that. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So we have, of course, this Ashley St. Clair, and she says a lot of stuff that is not at all conservative at all. It is kind of interesting. She doesn't like people criticizing her either. Let me show you a clip here. This is pretty funny. I love these guys because they always show on their face what they think, particularly this guy. You can tell right away if he agrees or disagrees with the person talking. And it's pretty hilarious that these people go on their show.
YouTube, who has been, at the forefront of we need to protect those who are, a protected class. And women typically fall into that class. So why all of a sudden is all of this content allowed on YouTube that is terribly misogynistic?
Of course, she's talking about people criticizing her. Okay, so apparently, if you criticize those like her, it's not good. It's terrible. It's misogynistic or whatever. I'm like, really? So apparently you can't be criticized is what you're saying, right? In reality, she needs criticism. 100% needs criticism because she's clearly not living the life she claims. And she's not the only one. You have also Lauren, Southern. She was from some years ago. Goodness gracious. That was a train wreck of all train wrecks. Regarding her, apparently she had been with quite a few people. In the background, we're talking like some are saying everybody. Okay. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is what people say. And apparently there is some receipts behind that. And one of the reasons why she got married and went for a traditional marriage apparently is because she got knocked up. The part about her falling in love and having a traditional courtship before the marriage is a lie. She accidentally got pregnant because she was with the security guard, her security guard. They got married after the pregnancy, which clearly contributed to the marriage being a failure. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And from what I understand, she's been with, like I said, if you go look it up, you start looking around on this, literally almost everybody that's at the top. And I'm not saying it's true. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe she's only been with a few. I kind of doubt it, but I think she's been with several. I don't know how many, though. But I think it's easier to say who she's not been with. I know one person she's not been with, or a couple, actually. But it is interesting that she also was with people on the left. She apparently, Lauren, supposedly a religious, traditional person, was with Destiny on the left, an atheist who's completely on the left. All right. She was with him. And even he sort of like kind of obfuscates the question here. It's like obviously he was based on how he answers the question because he just doesn't say no, I wasn't with her. He says like it depends how you describe that, what you mean by that. Like seriously, dude. So he just avoids the question pretty much. But so you got people like that. That was from 2018, 2019. She's trying to make a comeback. She's been around doing her show and been on Tim Pool and stuff. Then you got Nala. She also was oh, by the way, Lauren's sister was one of those type of cam web, type, you know what I'm saying? She's one of those as well, her sister. So a lot of these women either come from it or are close to people there because she's really good friends with her sister. And then you have Nala, who also was one, only of course fans. Now she's religious, traditional, and she's I think this is her Instagram. She's, what is she? Fitness. It's like a fitness. She's into fitness or something now, and cooking. She's into fitness and cooking. And of course, she makes some rather interesting looks and poses when she's doing this video. I've shown it before. I don't want to show it again. It's pretty obvious that, and this is actually the more innocent one, by the way. There's actually way worse that she does in this. While she has music to it, she even does something with the roller there, like this. I'm not joking. She literally does that at the end. So don't tell me it's all innocent. Give me a break. I mean, just use your eyes, use your head. Okay. So that's the kind of stuff going on with these influencers that are religious and traditional that are at the top. All right. I think that needs to change. This is really ridiculous. Okay. It's just ridiculous. We need actually married women who actually have a family, who are actually not trying to do all that stuff at the top instead. Not those who say one thing and do the exact opposite, right? Now let's get over to this whole topic of this $5,000 payment to every American taxpayer that may be happening in the not so distant future. Of course, we have Elon proposing to send a $5,000 dividend to every taxpayer as a result of all the money they saved in these audits of recent with the USAID, Department of Defense, all these different ones that they've been doing, education, you know, all of them. There's like a Social Security, IRS. So they have all this money that they're saving. They want to give you a dividend from it. And some people I noticed in the comment section were concerned of inflation. This is not money that was printed that's going to be given to you, unlike last time. Last time, back in 2020, they printed money and gave you some of it. This time, this is money that you actually paid to them. So this is money you paid in your taxes to them being refunded back to you. So it's not the same thing. Now, technically, it might cause some temporary slight price raises on things because of people spending money, but that's not what do you call it? It's not long-term inflation. It's like a short hump and it'll go back to normal. So it's not going to affect inflation overall. It's not the same thing. So in the case of when they print all that money, we're still feeling that. That's why inflation continues to rise, is because that's still being added to us. But this is not the same thing. This is completely different. At any rate, so there's that. So that could be something that's happening very soon here. You might be getting a $5,000 dividend check. I thought it was interesting what we have here. Kevin O'Leary talking about all the government, of course, fat and cutting off these things. And it's pretty funny how he was wording it. Check this out.
Fat like a chicken. All of these agencies are like big fat chickens dripping over barbecues of fat. This is the best barbecue.
They're so fat. True.
I've ever seen, but I don't think it's happening fast enough. They're not cutting enough. Keep slashing, keep hacking while you have a 24-month man.
So what he's talking about here is he's looking at it like a business, just like Elon is. So you have 47, Elon, Kevin O'Leary. They're all business owners. They're all rich, wealthy business owners that understand how to bring a company back to a good place. Kevin O'Leary from the Shark Tank. He's an investor. He understands how to bring a company to a place to where it's making profit and is no longer in a bad place with debt and things of that nature. So they're just treating it like a company. They're saying, look, Kevin's saying this. He's saying, look, just going in, he actually said they're not doing enough. Believe it or not, Kevin O'Leary said they're not doing enough. He's saying Elon's not doing enough. I'm like, really? What? And what I think he's trying to get at is he's saying they need to go hard and cut all the fat right now. And then he's saying after they're done and they've done the whole GOV, they need to go in and do it again. Because he says that with a company, this is how you got to do it with the company as well. You go in, you cut out all the waste, and then you go in a second time. It's kind of like when you're going to pick grapes or something, or going to pick strawberries. The first time around, you're going to miss a couple, right? Some berries or whatever you're picking, you're going to miss something. So you go around a second time, and you'll get some more. So it's kind of like that. That's kind of, I think, his method of looking at this. And so it's interesting. I hope they do go through it twice and find all the waste, everything they might have missed the first time. I'm guessing there are going to be a couple things they might have missed. So that's some good news, right? So hopefully they continue with that and that goes well in the end. I wanted to get into also some of these Hollywood stories. You have some strange stuff going on. You have, of course, this one's kind of weird. You have Mark Hamill, Star Wars actor, apparently has a wardrobe, malfunction during his broadcast on the British Film Awards. And check this out.
So what makes us love cinema so much that we're all gathered here to celebrate tonight? For me, it's that films create worlds so vivid and stories so powerful that we lose ourselves in them completely. They create immersive cinematic landscapes that feel alive, whether they're set here in London.
I think it's good that he's got a post.
Ooh, look at this bat.
That could help take you on a holiday. Earn up to 140,000 Qantas points to put towards flight.
With Superloop's Lightspeed plan, you get 1 gigabit per second speeds for only $99 a month.
The podium there. A perfect place in it. I mean, I think he turned out okay in the end. I mean, obviously this is kind of ridiculous for that to happen while you're during an award ceremony. But then you have this really, I saw this thing about Wendy Williams. You remember Wendy Williams, who she had a TV show, sort of like where she would interview and have on, kind of like Ellen DeGeneres show, similar type of show to her, where she'd have on guests and interview them and stuff like that. And apparently, you remember she had some sort of issues, health issues. I think they were saying she had dementia or something like that. She ended up being put in an assisted living facility, and she's claiming that the guardianship is, abusive, and that she's being treated, of course, like a prisoner. This is from TMZ. She said that she's basically locked in a room. She has investigators looking into it, that she was being misdiagnosed, and she's actually looks like she's very upset. I think she's on an interview on the phone there. It's really strange, it's really strange what happened with her. You've seen it with other actors, musicians. You had Britney Spears, same kind of thing happened to her. She was in a weird guardianship. You saw it also with some of these actors, like, I'm trying to remember his name, from Different Strokes, where all their money was taken from them. Nothing was set aside for them while they were acting. Their parents just took all the money. I can't remember his name, though. The shorter guy from Different Strokes. But at any rate, so you have that story as well. And what I was saying regarding Social Security numbers, you have this ridiculous amount of stuff going on with Social Security, the Social Security Administration, people that are 300 years old taking Social Security, people that are 250 years old. You got 1,000 people that are 220 to 230. You got millions that are 140 years old. 3.5 million people that are 140, 150 years old taking Social Security. This is like 20 million people that don't exist, probably. If you just count the ones over 100, it's like 20 million that just straight up, and from what I understand, it's all foreign. It's money being taken from America and going to foreign people. A lot of these fake, Social Security numbers. So, and you also have how many of these there are in the regular age limit that are not real as well. You have that factor also, because there's such a huge number of people. It's almost the equivalent to the American population. It's like 330 million or something taking Social Security. I mean, seriously? That's like almost every American would be taking it. So you have literally so much waste there from just people that are foreign that have somehow tricked the system and got this free money for years upon years upon years. I mean, how did they not look into that? How did they not look into that? That was through the IRS. They audit people and they can't even audit themselves. I mean, seriously? Over a 10-year normal budget window, you could be talking about saving over $1 trillion by clamping down on massive, of course, fraud in tax and entitlement systems, including carried out by foreign organized, of course, fraud and theft. So you got that story. I mean, there's so many. I mean, goodness gracious, you have our president talking about it right here. It's kind of funny. He's talking about it. But you even have Adam here complaining. He's trying to get into your personal tax data and bank. The world's richest man cannot be able to snoop around your finances. End of story. Well, Adam, they're not snooping around ours. They're snooping around yours. Okay, big difference. We don't have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank while getting 170,000 a year like you do. Okay, we don't even have 170,000 a year coming in, into our paycheck. You know what I mean? Like, you got 100 million in the bank or 50 million or whatever you got, because a lot of these guys have 150 million, depending on who you talk about, and they get these paychecks a year that just don't even. There's no way they could get that much money from it, right? Anyway, so you got that story. You have EV maker Nikola files bankruptcy, Chapter 11 bankruptcy, sort of like Tesla's competitor. So there's another story like that. You got Hyundai plant with ICE going in there and finding apparently a number of people that are not what you would call legal working there. I've heard how they do it. I've heard from people that work in factories where I live, and they tell us how these not legal people from other countries come in here and are able to work jobs where you need a license, you need to prove you're an American. They get these licenses, they're not what you would call real, obviously. And he was telling me how there was like 10 people with the same license. They all got the same name. But the company just turns a blind eye. It's like, oh, 10 people with the exact same driver's license. Right? And that's what happens with these type of situations. So there's actually a lot of them that were discovered there, apparently, at Hyundai. They said a significant number undocumented, of course. Right. So at any rate, so you got that. And I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to get into this. I was going to get this on the other channel. I didn't get a chance to. Zelensky, oh my goodness, this stuff's backfiring. So look how tall he is. I thought he was a lot taller than he is. Apparently, he's extremely short. Look at that dude. I mean, I bet you Tom Cruise is taller than him. I bet you Tom Cruise is like 4 inches taller. I don't know, man. Like, look at this guy, dude.
Wow.
Like, he's shorter than everyone.
Yes.
Ladies and women, look, they're shorter, they're taller than him. Like, whoa, what's going on here, dude? How tall are you, man? I don't know what's going on.
He's like a child next to them.
I thought he was like maybe just normal sized. Apparently not. So this guy apparently has now said he said our president is not on his side and that he's on Vladimir's side. And apparently his own military, Zelensky there, is turning, of course, on our president as well, doing like protests and stuff. I mean, dude, this is ridiculous. This is kind of like that needy cousin that never worked, that just keeps asking you for money, and you give him endless money, and then you stop giving it to him, and he starts calling you names and hate you. It's like that, right? That's what this is. This is like someone that took all our money, completely ungrateful, and then gets mad at you because you don't give them more. That's what this is. And they said they owe us zero because apparently Elon asked for the money back. And of course, they give us in return the finger greeting, you know, the one finger in the middle there.
Hair on your head, every hair on everybody's head, past, present. Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I'm going to entitle this, I'm Scared. And here's where I got that. So last night, as I was falling to my knees to do my prayer closet, as I do every night, when you're talking to God, okay, you get really honest because he knows everything, past, present, future, every hair on your head, every hair on everybody's head, past, present, future. You know, you can't hide anything from God. So as I dropped to my knees last night, I started by, and normally I start by saying thank you. Only this time I said, I'm scared. Now, before I jump into why I said that, let me make a quick announcement. Yes, we're not going to be offering the physical discs of the DVDs of some 330 DVDs we've made anymore after the end of February. We're going to do it at the end of January, but we've extended it to the end of February. But I've been asked to tell you that we're reducing the price from $30 down to $10, and we're almost out of cases, the little plastic cases that the plastic DVDs go in. And after we run out of cases, we're not going to buy any more. We're going to start shipping them in paper sleeves. But if you want to place an order, go to prophecyclubresources.com. That puts you right there, prophecyclubresources.com. And if you want to watch these some 300 DVDs, you can go to watchprophecyclub.com. You can watch 25 years. 25 years of Prophecy Club speakers, all for $20 a month, $200 a year. Best deal we got going. Okay. So, going back to what I was saying. And by the way, I can tell you right now, this is probably going to go over today, but I think it's really important that I bring it to you. And so if you get bored, then I don't think you'll get bored with this one today, but I encourage you to stay to the end. So I said, I'm scared. And I said that not because of me, my family, or our ministry. I'm scared for America because I see things that are about to come to pass that I've been warning people about for 32 years. And here it is. I don't want that. I want nice times. I want good times. I want to live a good life just like you do. But I'm afraid, for some reason, I'm about to show you
Time's up.
That
yep. Time's up.
It's all about to change. And I'm a little emotionally upset about it. I'll just tell you. I think it's all about to change. and some of it's going to be for good, and I think some of it will be briefly, but I also think there's about to be some real bad times. Now, here's why I say that. These are the reasons. Let me go to the scriptures just a little bit. I know I lose some people when I go to the scriptures. That's wrong. You got to stay with me. Matthew 12:22. Then was brought in him one possessed of a devil, blind and dumb. Now, I think that this is a parallel of what's happening in America right now. Right now, we were on control and possessed by one of the devil in the White House. He goes on to say, possessed with the devil, blind and dumb, and he healed him, insomuch that the blind and dumb both spake and saw. And all the people were amazed and said, is not this the son of David? But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, this fellow doth not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of devils. Meaning the people that are complaining right now about Trump are really the prince of devils. They're complaining, in this case, they were complaining about Jesus, and they were complaining about him because he was doing good things, miracles in this case. Same thing is happening today. There's nothing new under the sun. That which was is that which shall be. What was once happening is going to be repeating again. The thing about history is it has to repeat because no one knows what's going on. No one follows it, okay? Let me go on and make my point. Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Now remember those three words, shall not stand, because I'm going to show you that straight out of a cover stone dream that will, another warning given to us. Let's go on now. If Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then shall his kingdom stand? And if I, by Beelzebub, cast out devils, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore, they shall be your judges. But if I cast out devils by the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God is come to you. My point being, I think that Trump is bringing America's last chance to heal. And by rejecting his message, those people that are complaining against Trump and the things he's trying to do are rejecting God's healing. So consequently, when they rise up and they overthrow Trump and his government, and that is going to come, I believe, God's not telling me that directly, but I believe that to be accurate. When that happens, that's going to be the fall of America. Let me go to this scripture. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from the wicked ways, then I'll hear from heaven and forgive their sins and heal their land. Now, let's look at it step by step. If my people that are called by my name, that would be America, okay, shall humble themselves, have we seen that? Well, sort of, because we voted for Trump. Pray. Have we seen more people praying? Not exactly, but maybe there is more prayer. Seek my face. Yes, I think there's some of that, but not as much as, in my opinion, needs to be. Turn from the wicked ways. I think a lot of people have seen the error of the immigration and all the other sort of things. And so this is America's attempt, without turning to God, attempt in their secular ways to fix their nation. Then I will hear from heaven. I think that God heard from heaven a little bit about our change because we did vote in a good guy. And then he says, then he'll forgive their sin and heal their land. Now, there's more. I got to read through this to make my point here. It's very, very important. 32 years I've been watching for this to come to pass. It is now happening before my eyes. Dmitry was told the fall of America will start with an internal revolution in America. Started by the communists. Now look at this next part. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. I think I'm about to show you that today. Just started yesterday, according to their own words. I'll show you. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and two of the countries will attack and defeat America. I'm going to show you that Mexico is growing angry. And through the Panama Canal thing, we're already making Central America also angry at us. As a matter of fact, when Leslie and I were down in Honduras last year, they don't like Trump down there. Matter of fact, most of the southern Mexican nations do not like Trump. because the way he's treated the immigration, what he says about immigration. I think they're wrong, but nevertheless, that we're told don't say the word Trump down here. In other words, they're already against America. Let me go on. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but there's a couple of points I got to make. Do you remember at the very bottom line here, it says, give us our entitlements, give us our entitlements. Now, what are entitlements? Well, they are checks from the government that the people used to receive, but are not receiving them anymore, and they think that they have a right to receive them. Now, obviously, the government is not sending them because they don't think they have a right to receive them. But now, in leading up to this, I'm going to look at it. Let me show you something. So the first thing he saw here was a financial storm. I'm going to show you the financial storm is now in progress. I'm also going to link it to the 1789 overthrow of King Louis, the whatever it was, and when he was beheaded. And what started that was a financial difficulty in France. Just like we're about to have a financial difficulty in America, but I can't seem to get anybody to listen to me. Nobody wants to hear prophecy, beloved. Second thing is, there's going to be an earthquake if we split Israel. We're praying that we don't, and I see a way where we may get out of that. Now, I hope that doesn't come. But then there's going to be devaluing of the dollar. I think that, as I said in yesterday's program, they are now talking about auditing the Fort Knox. So they go to Fort Knox and they find out either there's not any gold, there's not enough gold, or the gold that there is not really owned all by America. Whatever it is, it comes out in the news that we don't have the gold backing to our dollar that we say we do, and all of a sudden, that dollar drops like a rock, and things start doubling and doubling and doubling again.
But the US dollar is not based on that. It's not based on gold. It's based on petrochemicals, petrodollars. It's got nothing to do with gold.
In price. All of a sudden, there's a lot of people complaining, hey, Trump, I thought you was going to fix this. You didn't fix it. You made a mess of it. No, he didn't make a mess of it. Federal Reserve did. Federal Reserve did starting back in 1913, okay? But nevertheless, Trump is going to be the one that gets blamed for it. Now, the next thing I got to point out here in the dead center where it says, give us our entitlements. That, in my opinion, is just about to start. And then this tells about a great revival, which I'm going to skip today. We've read it many times. Now, let me go to the point where Coverstone had an angel come to him. This is what he said. I saw the man I'd seen in previous streams standing at the place where the president gives the State of the Union address. In other words, this, the angel of God, speaking to the government of America. He tapped the microphone 3 times and stated in a loud voice, a house divided against itself shall not stand. And the emphasis was on the word shall. The angel standing where the president speaks to the rulership and saying this is saying that America is divided, and if America doesn't unite, it's going to fall. We just had Michael Snyder come out and say we better be praying that we don't anger the Russians any more than they're already angry. We better start praying against this. But it's warning us, don't be divided. Then on down it says, on the wall were several light switches. He flipped all 3 of them off, closed the door, and walked out. Meaning right now, the primary message that God is trying to say to America is don't be divided against yourself or you will fall. I'm going to show you in this program today, we are very divided against ourselves. Let's go on. American and Mexican forces now preparing assaults on the cartels. Special forces have landed. The Mexican Senate has approved the entry of United States Special Forces into Mexico starting this week. Well, wait a minute. Okay. If Mexico has approved the American military from coming in to put down these cartels, what's the big problem? I mean, the plan is for the Army's 7th Special Forces Group to train Mexican soldiers on conventional and non-conventional types of combat. So what's the problem?
Hey, Darren, good to see you,
mate. The Mexican government approves. What makes a difference is how many Mexicans we anger, also how many cartels we anger, okay? Now, here's the next article. Law enforcement, cartels, and politicians. President Trump will reportedly use force to completely terminate the cartels, ending the fentanyl and human trafficking crisis. Yeah, if we were a righteous nation, and if Mexico was a little righteous, maybe that could happen. But when we're a sinful nation, and Mexico is an even more sinful nation with an even more left-leaning president, we have a problem. All the persons that profited from cartels, they say they're going to round up. I think what this is doing is making Mexico an enemy. Remember, that's one of the nations that will attack us. It goes on to list some names here of some people that are on the probably the roundup list. Okay, let's go on. There's more. Dems calling for revolution against the government. Viral posts calling for repeat of violent French Revolution inside the USA. What? This is my big point. Let me read that again. There are viral posts, not just a few, viral posts calling for a repeat of the violent French Revolution inside the USA. Okay, so what was the French Revolution? We're going to talk about it. Leftist echo chamber Reddit is embracing the French Revolution in an attempt to resist President Donald Trump. California has set aside, what was it, $20 million or $50 million to resist Trump? I mean, we have open insurrection. We have open revolution already starting in our nation. The platform, notorious for its censorship of conservatives, is allowing posts calling for violent political revolution here in America. Specifically, they are saying it's time for the style of the French reign of terror to spread virally in the early weeks of the Trump administration. So what is he just, I mean, he's not even around a month. They're already calling for an open revolution. They want this is important, what 1939 Germany, let's give them 1789 France is popping up all over the platform with 1789 France spiking in Google searches. Okay, what was going on in 1789 France? Well, here it is. They want 1939 Germany, but let's give them 1789 France. Okay, so what's that? Well, the French Revolution describes the time between 1789 and 1790, when French citizens radically altered their political landscape. Okay, that's garbage. Okay, that's gobbledygook. They're not telling you what really happened. What really happened was they beheaded their king. Okay, that it's watered down, it's smoothed over to make it sound pretty. Let's go on. King Louis the whatever that is, the 16th, I think it is. Yeah, 16th, who made his death by guillotine, as did his wife Marie Antoinette. They actually want bloodshed. Dems want bloodshed, and here it is. Again, one of the guys, I'm about to play you a video of him actually doing it. The Democrat Congressman Ed Markey, remember that name, Ed Markey from Massachusetts, also made news when he picked up a bullhorn over this past weekend and declared the revolution against Donald Trump and Elon Musk begins here. So mark this day. That would be 2/19 of 2025. I think it's interesting that Russia invaded Ukraine on 2/22/2022. Now our revolution starts on almost the same day. There's more. Democrat Congressman announces revolution against Donald Trump. He's openly calling for revolution. Let me show you the video.
This is the city of revolutionaries from the American Revolution to create checks and balances in the United States Constitution so that we did not have a dictator, a king, the way those colonists were living under it. And they thought all along Massachusetts Avenue, the American Revolution started here. The revolution of the suffragette movement started here. The revolution of same-sex marriage started here. The revolution against the war in Vietnam started here. The revolution against Donald Trump and Elon Musk, it starts here in Boston.
I was almost thinking about playing it a second time, but listen to what he said. Now let's go again. Tonight, Trump executive order will cut off all federal benefits to all illegal aliens. Now that sounds really good to us Christians. We shouldn't have to be paying or feeding or putting up in expensive hotel people that broke our laws coming into our nation. Well, it should have been here in the first place. But God is doing, I'll show you the scripture to prove it in just a second. God is doing it. So President Trump will sign executive order by now, and I've already heard in the news it is now signed. We're not going to be supporting any more of these illegal aliens. Well, what's that going to do? Let's go to the prophecy. Jeremiah 51:14. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. I looked up that word shout, and to you and I, we would say, and they will raise up a protest against you. Kind of like give us our entitlements. In other words, what Trump did today is probably going to cause people to be lifting up signs saying, give us our entitlements.
Okay, that's true. They are saying give us our entitlements. He's pretty much spot on there.
Entitlements, just like Shane Warne was told back in 2010. We've been talking about it since then. 14 years we've been telling people, give us our entitlements, it's coming. And now here it is. But, you know, most people think, well, we don't have to support Prophecy Club anymore. We don't have to worry about it because Trump, he's going to fix everything. If you believe that, you are misinformed. I'm saying, as I dropped to my knees last night before my God, I said, I'm scared. That's how I started my prayer closet. I'm scared. Not for me, not for family or ministry. I'm scared for my nation because these things are here. They're not over the horizon. They're not at the end of the block. They're not at the end of the driveway. They are ringing the doorbell, or you might say about to bust the door down. There's more. I looked up the definition of revolution. And by the way, this is not very accurate. A revolution is a sudden and often violent change in government or social order. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Here's a better one. A change in the way a country is governed, usually to a different political system and often using violence or war. Okay, what's a real revolution? So I looked it up. These viral posts we're talking about, calling for repeat of violent French Revolution. Remember that? So I looked it up. So do you see it? This was just posted yesterday by Donald Trump. Congestion pricing is dead. I'm not talking about that. But it's saved and long live the king. Donald Trump put on social media, what's it called? True Social. Long live the king. He was calling himself a king yesterday. Wow. Just happened to be the same day that Massachusetts governor or congressman is now saying that the internal revolution has started. Do you see it? Do you see something coming? There's more. I pulled this right off the internet. Okay, long live the king. And then you go to Henry Gruver back, what was it, 15, 20 years ago? I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. He said he saw that Trump would return as a king. Well, what gets beheaded, presidents or kings? The answer is kings. King Louis the 16th, I guess you call that, was beheaded January 21, 1793. Now, I remember that in my history books as a child. My guess is that's not even in our history books today. As a matter of fact, I had to do some serious searching because for the most part, this whole thing has been scrubbed from the internet. They don't want you to think about this. Why? Because they want to do it to us. Oh, Stan, that's ridiculous. So I looked it up. Here's the location at the bottom, gives you how you can read this. So what started the French Revolution? Well, I'll tell you. The Revolution of 1789 originated from a deep-rooted problem that the government could not fix. Why? Because the government wasn't in charge of the money, just like the government is not in charge of the money in America today. It's the Federal Reserve or the Mohawks, the evil bankers, the international bankers. But what caused it? French's financial trouble. What is America about to go into? Financial trouble. You mark my word. You mark my word. The prophecies say. I'm not saying God has not told me, but the prophecies say we're looking at the fall of the dollar. 30%, 30%, zero. Get it? 30%, 30%, zero. What caused France's king to get beheaded? A French Revolution based upon financial troubles and, look at this, systemic, they even use the same word, systemic social inequality. What do we call it today? We call it DEI. Same thing?
Good point.
Same thing.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I believe our revolution started on the 19th of February of 2025. I think that congressman that was bellowing it out on that bullhorn was not kidding. And it may be that it really has started. Now, the question is, how long is it going to be before beheadings start taking place? Well, we finished the article. So some 20 to 40,000 people were killed in this reign of terror, including many of the revolution's former leaders. If history were to repeat here, what would that look like? I don't even think I should probably say it. Let's move on. So I looked it up. You know, there are lots of pictures of this event. So here's a question we got to ask ourselves. So what if history is about to repeat? What if the good guys in charge get overtaken by an internal revolution and beheaded in that internal revolution? Well, how's that fit with Bible prophecy? How are the Christians killed in the days of the mark of the beast? By what means? The answer, here it is in Scripture. Yeah. When he opened the fifth seal, it saw under the altar the souls of those who were slain.
Darren, he's making sense, isn't he?
Fifth seal. When is the fifth seal? Well, that's about in the last half of the tribulation, in my opinion. Fifth seal, under the altar of the souls of them who were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. Oh, come on, man. We're not going to see that. Well, if you're going in a pre-trib rapture, no, you won't. But if you're going in a pre-trib rapture, according to several people, that should have happened 3.5 years ago, thereabouts. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge? Now look at that word avenge. What does avenge mean? It means that there's a bunch of bad people killed a whole bunch of Christians. O Lord, holy and true, does thou not avenge, judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? White robes are given. Now, why do white robes give it to everyone of them? What do you get at a wedding? You get the wedding garment. And what color is a wedding garment? It's a white wedding garment. I think it's because these people go to the wedding supper, and I think the wedding, and I think that happens about 4 months before Armageddon. But let's go on. I've got another point to make here. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven. This is us at the marriage supper of the Lamb. Hallelujah. Salvation, glory, honor, and power to the Lord our God. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he is judge, the great whore. I think the word great got put there by Donald Trump. He's the one that started calling America, make America great again. We are the great whore. Now, we're in the middle of the best times America's ever going to see. With Trump in charge. Look at them. These are the best days we're ever going to see. And I think that shortly, I don't know when, but shortly, we're going to see the dollar fall. We're going to see riots, and we're going to see blood in the streets. We're going to see people angry, blowing up things, killing people. The world's not sane. It's one thing when there's a revolution in a nation that doesn't have weapons, but it's quite another thing when there's a revolution in a nation that does have weapons. Mm-hmm. We do have weapons. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with the fornication, had avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. Back to my question. How are the Christians killed during this time? The answer is right here. And I saw thrones, and they sat on them. And judgment was given to them. And I saw the souls of those who beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and had not worshipped the beast. That tells us when this takes place. This is not talking about past. This is talking about future, as in the next few years, in my opinion. Worship the beast, neither his image, never receive his mark on her forehead or in the hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. That's the biggest blessing in the kingdom you can get, is beheaded by the beast for your witness and testimony of Jesus. That is the number one highest blessing. But there's more. So what if Trump won the 2024 election? Shortly after, some of the people start fighting against the government, started 2/19 of 2025. The internal revolution is started. The revolution execution method is beheading. In the middle of a bunch of blood flowing in the streets as the Trump administration is overthrown, the Russians attack and destroy America in 1 hour.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Surely not, Stan. Well, I hope not.
Okay, guys, I'm out. See you tomorrow. God bless.
But that does line up with Bible. That does line up with prophecy. So I'd suggest 800, 200 gold.